Well, since the last video, I've done a bit of retopologizing. Down here in layer 15, I guess this is, I've got the pieces that I've already done. I went ahead and did the hand grip, the magazine, the trigger, and all of this up front here too. I went ahead and did this. And really it's just the same process that we've been doing for both the shoulder rest and the scope. And you can see the ones I've already done here in layer 1. So I'm keeping track kind of layer 1 and layer 15 are the ones I've done. And layer 2 here has this piece. Layer 3 has that piece. And layer 4 has this handle piece. So let's go ahead and work on retopologizing this piece. This kind of offers a few challenges, but also I want to mention a couple of ways that you can use the original mesh for the retopology. So let's begin with this main piece here. What I'll do is I'll go to my side view and let's go to wireframe. And I think what I'll do is just create a cube. Come over here and create a cube. Now this cube is coming in at 1 meter, and obviously our gun here is way too big, and we'll scale it down to the proper size once we get everything completed. But I think what I'll do is go ahead and set my cube to be maybe 0.25 here. And now every time I create that cube again, it'll be this size. Alright, so I'll just bring this over here and let's start putting this in place. I'm just going to scale it down so it's just the size of this part right here, maybe right in here. And then I'll go to wireframe and select this face and kind of bring it up a bit. And maybe grab this one and bring this in just a bit here like that. Okay, so now we have that there. Let's now go back to our side view and grab this face and let's just take it all the way to the end here. Something like this. And I don't even need to angle it here to match the high res because we're going to have this piece over it. So I'm not going to worry about that. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and extrude up to get this piece here. Let me scale in just a little bit in the X so we get it into just inside or just covering up those holes here. Now this piece here, I'm going to use an independent piece for this right here. So this should be about wide enough. Now I'm going to tab into edit mode and grab this face here. And what I want to do is extrude up just a bit and scale out in the X to kind of encompass the back part back here. So you can see it's got a bit of a lip on it here, so we can scale that in and out until we get it about the right size, like that, let's say. Now we need a couple of edge loops in here, so I'm going to go ahead and just press Ctrl R and move an edge loop right in here. And it looks like we could also move an edge loop right here as well, just to bring that in, or to bring that piece out a bit. Alright, so now let's grab this face here, and it looks like we could get an edge loop right in here to hold this, right in there. Alright, so now let's go ahead and just take a look at this low poly piece. I'm going to move it to layer, what is that, 16? Let's try that. I think that's what that is. 5, 10, yep. And let's grab these faces here now. I'll bring back that high res piece by pressing Shift 2 because it's on layer 2. And now I'll extrude this up, straight up like this. And then what I want to do is just grab the face right here and right here. And let's try and just scale those out. Once again, I'll press Shift 2, and then I'll just scale these out in the X like that, just to bring those out a bit. Something like this. Now we might be able to grab a couple of edges here and bring those in like that. Now we could also come in and imitate this curve to the high-res geometry here. So if we inserted an edge loop here, and then perhaps grabbed this edge right here, and maybe just moved it up a bit until we get something like that. So just kind of mimicking that curve there. We could also take these edges here and pull them in just a bit like that. Now that we have that, we need to begin adding some of these other pieces. Let's work on this piece here. So let's once again go to the side view, and I'll create a cube and bring it in and try and get it in shape as well. So maybe I'll put this one right in here, grab this face and bring it up, and grab that face and bring it back to this point right here. Now let's tumble around and get it the proper width. So I'll scale in to about right there. Maybe a little bit wider. Let's try that. Like that, let's say. And then I'll go ahead and insert an edge loop here. And that will allow us to grab this face here and extrude this out straight back like that. And then I may grab these points here, or this edge. Let's try and grab that edge and maybe pull it out just a little bit to try and pick up that angled piece in the high res there. Alright, so we have those two pieces. Let's make sure we get these on the proper layer. So this one I'll press M and click here to move that down to this layer here. Alright, we have those. We can also go ahead and smooth them for now to see how they're going to look. We've got that. Now we can begin thinking about these other pieces, and many of these other pieces we can just duplicate the high res, move it to the new layer, and then delete the subsurf modifier, dissolve a few edges, and we have our low res piece. So let's try that with this one over here. This one is pretty basic, so we should be able to duplicate it, move it down to the proper layer down here, and now we could just get rid of the subsurf modifier here and go in and remove a few edges. Now what I really need to do is just hold down the Alt key and then Shift and Alt and just begin removing a few of these like this. And then press X and dissolve edges. And it looks like we've got one more really tight in here, so I'll dissolve that one as well. And there we go. We've got our low-res piece. So let's do that again. How about this one here? Duplicate it, move it. And now I'm going to press Shift H to isolate it. I'll get rid of the subsurf modifier. And now we've got quite a few edges here to get rid of, but it shouldn't take too long. I'll just hold the Alt key and Shift. And we should be able to get rid of these pretty quickly. Now these here that are holding the cylinder, we can get rid of these on the inside here. We could also get rid of these on the inside of this part right here. And that's probably about as much as we can do. Oh, we can do this one as well. So let's do that. There we go. So there's our low poly piece for that. I'll press Alt H to bring everything else back. And let's see what else we can do. How about this piece right here? All we have is a subsurf modifier on it, so I think it's a good candidate. This one down here, we couldn't do it because it didn't have a subsurf on it, and you can see how high or how dense the mesh is here, and that's because we cut a Boolean into it. So for this piece here, let's go ahead and duplicate it, move it down to the proper layer, and then let's get rid of the modifier. I'll press Shift H to isolate it, and then let's go ahead and press Alt and Shift and begin dissolving these edges. Now it looks like everything else we need, well, maybe this one could go away. I think it could. Let's get rid of that one. How about this one here? I think so. This looks like it is holding a particular shape there, so I won't get rid of that one. How about this one here? Yeah. And that looks about it. Everything else looks to be holding a particular shape. So now what we can do is go ahead and just grab this one side here and delete it. Delete the faces. And then let's go ahead and add a mirror modifier to it. Choose clipping and apply. And there we have our low poly piece. So now I'll press Alt H, bring that back, and we're coming right along. So in the next video, we'll go ahead and work on the rest of this using the same process of either creating new geometry or by reusing the high-res geometry for the low poly objects.